Welcome, everybody. Today is Wednesday, July, 24th already? In the year of our Lord 2024. I am Dale. That is Jim. Today, folks, we have back with us Greg Stenstrom. He was on last week, a couple weeks ago, maybe. He's going to talk to us again more about election fraud. Of course, he's the co-author of the book, The Parallel Election. He'll talk about his experiences and what happened in Delaware County, Pennsylvania there. Plus, of course, we'll go into further details about what we still don't know about the Trump assassination attempt, as well as the Democrats disenfranchising 14 million of their voters by just anointing Kamala Harris. So we're not allowed to say her name wrong now, or else we're just racist. We knew that was coming. But the Democrats.
Just wait.
It's just begun, people. About the Democrats anointing her as the chosen one. Jim has some speculation that still might not happen. I think they're in too deep now and they can't get rid of the DEI hire. So, folks, all that and so much more. Jim, on what?
Two guys.
It is.
One Coup.
Now on the Patriots Prayer Network.
Now on the
Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Now proudly on the Patriots Prayer Network, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. Join us as we expose the left's lies and take our republic back. Now here's Dale and Jim.
Again, good morning, everybody. Jim, before we bring Greg on, why don't we right away just hear from our sponsor, which is Grit Gear Apparel and Lock and Load Coffee. Jim's got another beautiful shirt on from them. Looks amazing as always. But let's hear from them, then we'll get Greg right on the show here.
All right.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Folks, that is Grit Gear Apparel and Lock and Load Coffee. Again, use coupon code 2GUYS when you check out and you get 10% off of your first order. So Grit Gear Apparel and Lock and Load Coffee. Jim, I'm going to bring up Greg here. He looks like he's ready. Let's bring him on. Let's waste no time. Sir,
hey,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm just changing my background here.
Hey, that's fine. Yeah.
Playing with it. There we go.
There you go.
That's better.
It looks good.
It's better than what I had up there.
Yeah, Greg, welcome back to the show. We're super glad that you came on. Just briefly again, Greg is a Navy veteran, a forensic computer scientist, extensive experience as a corporate executive, CEO, data scientist, technologist, and security expert. Of course, he's known for co-authoring the book with Leah Hoopes, Parallel Election, A Blueprint for Deception. They're the only two that have won an election fraud case in this nation, and that was in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Also, the paper, which I read through, the paper you wrote, The Council, who is running the United. I'm sorry, I don't have that written down, but who is running the United States of America? Or well, I'll tell you, man, that was an in-depth, and we'll get into that, but in-depth, really well-written explanation of who is really in charge in this nation. And if with everything we've seen, Greg, in the last 2 weeks in politics alone, and we can go back as far as, as you've actually gone back, in the paper and in the book, but just what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, I think has had to wake up a lot of Americans around here. First, obviously, the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump and future President Donald Trump. And then the anointing of Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party's nominee for president in 2024, without ever receiving a delegate vote. To me, that's an insurrection. That disenfranchises 14 million of those who voted for Joe Biden in the primary. And the Democrats just seem to be, well, who cares? Nothing to see here, right? We're fine with it. We're just going to go along with it. Really, the left's playbook is just never ending with the deception and the deceiving and the lies and everything that they do. Let's start off right away then, because the news kind of broke since the last time we spoke with you about Joe Biden stepping down. I don't think it surprised anybody. Obviously, he needed to. He doesn't have the cognitive skills or the ability to continue or run this nation. But we all knew this before the 2020 election. And the media has been so complicit in covering this lie, and of course the Democratic cronies and his buddies and all that, telling us nothing to see here. Uncle Joe's just fine. What's your thoughts on how that process has worked for them to actually appoint Kamala as their candidate?
Well, I think it verifies the hypothesis, the premise of the paper, the council. Mm-hmm. This is the work. It's not just my work. Colonel Timothy Schindler, U.S. Marine Corps retired, who also holds multiple master's degrees, a doctorate from U.S. University of California. Mm-hmm. He also has master's degrees from Georgetown, Harvard. I lost count of all of them. We sometimes make jokes. He was my classmate at the academy. We've been friends for over 40 years. He and another group of people, including myself, have been working on this for years. Now, he's put together over the last 8 years over 200 federal whistleblower cases, and people of like minds and like academic credentials as well, where they've dissected this how our country works and how it runs. And I think the evidence that the council is in charge is the fact that they've been able to really went after President Trump during his presidency. They went after him afterwards with indictments. Mm-hmm. They've been able to attack a U.S. president incessantly.
Yes.
And then the bottom line is Joe Biden, it could have been Mr. Potato Head. It didn't matter. What they wanted to show was that they were in charge. That there's an arrogance and a contempt for the public where they say we can do anything. I put that in the paper with Joe Rogan. He does a routine on dumb people, and we can go dumber. They really want to show that they are in charge. Yeah. And if they can assassinate or attempt to assassinate the actual president, by the way, Joe Biden is an illegitimate president.
Yep.
We have had an illegitimate government since 2020. Mm-hmm. We proved that.
Yep.
It's a matter of judicial and public record. While a lot of people don't know about it, we proved that.
Right.
But for them to be able to get Joe Biden, who is obviously reluctant, as dementia-addled as he is, he's obviously reluctant to leave, to gen up that letter and then make him disappear for 4 days, and then say, well, we're going to delegate all of his presidential authority to, the cabinet and to the bureaucracy. That is the council.
Yep.
So basically the council says, we tried to kill President Trump. We're getting rid of Biden. We're in charge. And a U.S. president, Biden, no matter what I think of his legitimacy, signs over the presidency to these wonks. What I want people to know, and the reason I wrote the paper, was it puts a face to them. Mm-hmm. And if you flash up, if you have time and you want to flash that up on the screen, we put a face to it. People have been saying the cabal, the swamp, the deep state, the communists, the Marxists, the Democrats, none of them. Okay, the Democrat Party and the GOP Party are nothing but tools for them. And it's in a ship of fools, quite frankly, that they use to control and manipulate the government. And people want to know, well, why do they do that? And this was the most, for me, it was probably the most crushing part of this was it's just money.
Yeah.
Wealth extraction of the American public. They see us as livestock, cattle, carbon units. And when you know, I encourage people to read the article because it is a scholarly article. It was heavily referenced. And I used both, you know, CNN and Politico. I used leftist leaning news media. I used right media. I used just facts. And the bottom line is what the council does is they have the power, lifetime appointments. No one can touch them. That's legislatively codified in the 1978 Inspector General's Act. They have complete power to indict, prosecute, investigate, or obstruct investigations into anyone, anything, anybody. So when they do something, they do a bad op, like they tried to assassinate President Trump. It's a perfect example. And it was right in the paper. They do an operation, they screw it up. Okay. And one of the things I said 10 minutes after the assassination attempt, I said, look, this was an inside job by our government, and there's always at least two shooters. Okay. And what we're finding out a week later, that was 10 minutes after it came out, and I literally knew as much as everyone else did, was nothing. And I said, there's two shooters. Plus, I heard the audio. And if anybody, I'm guessing you guys are, anybody who shoots rifles knows the difference between a 223 and like a 30-06, or 300 Win Mag, or
correct.
So the bottom line is, I'm sitting here going, well, I didn't hear an assassination attempt. I heard a gun battle. You know, with a 223, 30-06, inbound and outbound shots going, and that's a gun battle. So they ran an op, they screwed the pooch, and now the people who did that op. Now, who could order that op? Had to be the Inspector General, had to be the FBI, had to be the Secret Service.
Correct.
Okay, had to be them that ordered that op. Then they screwed it up, and now they're saying, well, we're going to investigate ourselves.
Correct.
It says that right in the paper. And if you saw the contempt that Cheadle had, the director of the Secret Service, the utter contempt and insolence on Monday in the testimony. If anybody listened to it, just
we all did.
Utter contempt. She knows that she can't be touched because the people that are going to touch her are the people that ordered the hit.
Correct. And as long as she kept her mouth shut and towed the line and sat through the congressional hearing and took the hits, of course, she resigns the next day. All part of the plan. Of course, that was going to happen. And now that's it. She moves off and gets whatever exit package she, has worked out with everybody. What that looks like, I don't know, but I agree with you.
Die in a small plane accident in a few weeks.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yep.
And exactly. Congratulate her for bringing both sides together for a change.
Well, the bottom line is the proof that, one of the reasons we came today was to talk about the council. And one of the things that was remarkable that happened on Monday is Roger Stone, who has been a political strategist since Nixon for president. There's a book written, Get Me Roger Stone, to win an election. This is the foremost political strategist in the country.
Correct.
For him to, Tim, Colonel Schindler and I have met with him. We talked to him. And, he was given that paper a week before the assassination attempt. And we went through it, and he said, we got to get this out, because I think he agrees with us. He does. So he put his political, what remains of his political career and his credibility, and he said, listen to these guys. Listen to Colonel Schindler, listen to Commander Stenstrom. They're scholars, which we are. They've investigated this. We work within the government, and everything they say here is verifiable and true. So we have a small group of people right now running a coup right now. They ran a coup in 2020. They're running a coup now. And I know you read the paper, so I don't want to prattle on, but I think that the one thing that your listeners need to take away from this is there are people running this country, and we know exactly who they are.
Correct.
And by exposing those people, what I said at the end of the paper was, you and I, what am I going to do against George Soros?
Yeah.
Or what am I going to sue Obama?
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of feedback. The people that they've gone after, the people they've harmed include U.S. senators, U.S. congressmen, very, very powerful business people, and so forth. The people that they have attacked and quashed, they're the ones that are going to come after them. We're coming after them with lawsuits and so forth. But what they have now is they've basically been identified. They've been shooting from they've been taking people out from a hide. They've been hiding in plain sight.
Yep.
Now that everyone knows who they are, we've already seen a huge impact. There's pressure on Horowitz, Jack Smith,
everything.
In the last 2 weeks, this has exploded because we forwarded this out. And what they've done, what the council has done, is they have destroyed people on both the right and the left. So they're getting hit from all sides. They got CNN and Politico and going, wait a minute, this makes sense, although they won't admit it yet. And people on the right going, holy cow.
Yeah.
I never knew who it was. U.S. Senator Grassley has controlled, as an example, has tried 6 times to get an inspector general within the U.S. Supreme Court unsuccessfully. Wow. They're trying it again. U.S. Senator Grassley was at the forefront of changing the Electoral College. They called it the Electoral College Improvement Act in 2022, which basically changes the entire dynamic of how our president will be selected in November of 2024. If there's an extraordinary or catastrophic event. That's the words they used in the act. If there's a catastrophic or extraordinary event, then we're going to throw everything out. We're going to give it to 3 federal judges in Washington, D.C. that we control, and they're going to decide who runs our government. They put that in our legislation. I know who did it. It was Manchin, who's now an independent, and everyone loves, but it was Manchin. It was Grassley. It was Raskin. And you look at that article I wrote. Everyone's there. The gang's all here. You know who's running our government right now? I got some background. I get a lot of little birdies calling me. And the person who's running the White House right now, and I was not surprised, but they said it's Eric Holder. Eric Holder.
Oh God, that's good to hear.
And when you think about it, it makes sense. He was the U.S. Attorney General. He was the advisor to Obama. Obama obviously has had a strong influence on the politics. But
and he's been tasked with vetting the vice president for Kamala as well. So
there you go. I mean, I want to open up to questions. I just wanted to get that out at the beginning of the show and front load it and say, we know who they are. We're coming after them.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you for doing that.
Okay. So with all that, we read the article, we see this. My question is this, to go with a part of proving that the election was rigged and it was stolen and it's illegitimate presidency right now. What can we do in this upcoming election? Because Dale and I have been saying for a while that we believe something catastrophic could happen, because that's really the only way that we thought that could derail President Trump, is something like that. But now we all know, anybody with any common sense knows that Kamala Harris is not qualified to be our president. By no stretch of the imagination is she qualified to be our president. So what can we do to kind of help make sure that when we go vote, and we need to go vote, right? We need to vote. When we vote, our vote is actually going to matter.
Well, it will matter. First of all, and I won't get into the actual mechanics of the fraud yet, but what they've done is part of what the council and part of this whole operation has been is to make people feel hopeless, futile.
Yeah, makes sense.
We put Mr. Potato Head in there, Biden, who's obviously not running anything. The guy he doesn't know when he's pooping his pants. And then I got Kamala Harris, who can't, I've never heard a coherent sentence come out of her mouth.
No.
So they put Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head in there, and that was intentional. People that say, look, at this point, 80% of the country believes there was election fraud and the election was stolen.
Correct.
80%.
80%.
I don't need to discuss it anymore. We have the evidence.
Yeah. You want a lawsuit. You want a case. Yeah.
So what that does is they're trying to get people not to vote. Okay. If you don't show up, you don't have a voice.
Correct.
So we're looking at participation rates in the primaries of 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 10 showing up for the primaries. We're seeing no more than 6 out of 10, but really down in the 40% showing up to vote in the off-year elections.
Yes.
In this election, they need us to only vote. They need about 60% turnout, maybe 65, and they're going to steal it again.
Yeah.
Using the centralized counting centers, which we're working on. We have multiple federal lawsuits.
I was going to ask that question too.
But if we had 9 out of 10 people show up, 9 out of 10, and show up, I'm talking at the polls, even people who have mail-in ballots at this point, bring the mail-in ballots to the polls with them. I think Mike Lindell has been putting this out.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, Mike Lindell has been putting this out, and it's a good. There's a lot of good strategies out there, and I don't want to say mine is the best, but Mike Lindell and his group have been putting out. If you instead of sending your mail-in ballot in, take it with you on election day.
Makes
sense.
sense.
Go in, and they're going to say, "Well, you've already voted." No, I haven't. Here's my mail-in ballot.
Correct.
They must give you a real ballot, not a provisional ballot. If you bring your mail-in ballot with you, they must allow you to vote. What you do is you just turn that ballot in. Okay. And then you sign in and you can vote. But if we got a 9 out of 10 people showed up, and I don't want to hear anybody saying, well, it's too much time. I'll have to stand in line for 3 or 4 hours.
My
These are
God.
people that the evil that they're stealing the country. They are killing our children. They are killing our economy. They're sending our wealth overseas. They're stealing it themselves. And you don't have 2, 3, 4 hours to stand in line.
Correct.
I served 22 years active and reserve in the military. Colonel Schindler served, it's over 30. And we have people, look at a picture of Utah Beach of 17 and 18-year-olds running up. They had time.
Right.
So anybody who says, I don't have the time, well, you don't deserve to be a citizen, quite frankly.
I agree.
And
that's the least you could do. I mean, and it truly is the least you could do. So
and the second part, real quick, is on the mail-in ballot. The way we do the mail-in, that's the biggest vector for frauds, the mail-in ballots. And for mail-in ballots, what they have to do is they have to challenge the mail-in ballot application. So explain the process real quick to people. Everyone hears about the voter rolls and they say, we put 17 million illegal aliens in the voter rolls. It doesn't matter. You can register your pet turtle, your dog, your cat. You can register your favorite plant to vote. You can register them, but they must be a citizen and they must be a resident of the county they're voting in.
Correct.
Right? That's called a qualified elector. By federal law, a county cannot send a mail-in ballot to an unqualified elector. And what they've done in Pennsylvania, and they did it all over the country, is a very small group of operators in key counties, which I'm in one of the key counties, Delaware County, said, no, ignore that law. And they did this. We have this on court record for our elector, our clerk of elections. And she said very dramatically in court, I said, Lorraine, I know you didn't break the law on your own. Who told you to send out 104,000 mail-in ballots to people who you knew weren't qualified electors? And she said, James Allen and the solicitors, and she pointed right at them. She couldn't wait to point them out. The judge, who's corrupt as hell, I said it in paperwork. I've called him corrupt in federal paperwork and lawsuits afterwards. I don't mind saying it here. The judge said, he wouldn't let her name them. Immediately, the solicitor stood up and said, oh, no, objection, sustained. Like, what do you mean sustained? She just pointed right at you. I want on record, you 3 clowns that ordered her to do this. All right. And the judge wouldn't let her enter that. But where we're going with that is Elon Musk, everyone's heard about the $45 million commitment. That $45 million commitment is going towards challenging mail-in ballot applications. In order to get a mail-in ballot, you must send an application. I'm betting you guys have already received applications in the mail.
I did.
You're getting taxed. It's happening all over the country. What they want is you to send in a mail-in ballot application. We can challenge them. It's $10 per challenge. And we can say this person is not a qualified elector. You can't send them a mail-in ballot. And if they do, when it comes back, we can say, you've got to pull that out. They're not a qualified elector. That takes the illegal aliens, quote, they aren't voting. Someone who's been voting for them.
Correct.
Anybody who holds any animos to illegal aliens, I mean, it's a whole nother subject for another show.
Correct.
But the animos shouldn't lie with them. I mean, how can you blame people? They said they're living in crappy countries, or they're living in bad situations, and they want to improve their situation. So I should hate them for that?
Yeah. No, of course ridiculous. Not. No.
So they come here, and I want to say something else is they are illegal aliens. They're not, prospective citizens. They're not immigrants. They are illegal aliens.
Yep.
They broke the law to get here. Yeah.
Yep.
But they're not the problem. The problem is that these small group of malfeasant, malevolent people are breaking federal laws and state laws that are in place to stop them. So they have a few select corrupt judges, political judges and partisan judges, political and partisan quote unquote election directors and so forth that they've installed in strategic locations to pervert the whole vote. So the solution isn't to clean the voter rolls, although that would be really nice. The solution is to call them out and say, comply with the law. We filed multiple federal lawsuits now that are in the court trajectory that will be decided before the election, that will stop illegal election machines, that will stop the illegal counting of mail-in ballots, and that will get rid of the centralized counting centers altogether.
Good.
And this has been done in Pennsylvania, Greg?
Yeah, Pennsylvania. We'll be sending that out to a lot of, most people across the states. We've got people waiting for those federal suits, and they'll be, you'll see those federal suits filed in other places.
Okay, gotcha. Good.
So President Trump and Lara Trump have said, don't cheat. We're watching you. So I don't want to know if they've got something in play. I don't want to know, because then if they say something, the Democrats are going to say, okay, we'll work around that. Do you feel, because we've talked to you many times about this, and this is this is why I wanted to talk to you. I felt really good that I felt the Trump campaign had their everyone has their hands on it and knows what's going on, and they're going to prevent it. Do you feel confident that administration knows how to identify the cheating, and they're going to be able to do something to stop it?
No, they don't have a clue.
Okay.
All right.
Completely clueless.
Gotcha.
President Trump has been bracketed, and I'm not going to say their names because, I could, but he's been bracketed by people that I named some of them in the article. I'd say, hey, read the article if you want to know who they are.
You have.
Bracketed by a campaign manager who comes from the council. He's been bracketed by the GOP, which hates him, by the way.
Yes.
The old school. Look at the convention. Just who wasn't there? Was Mitt Romney there?
Nope. Paul Ryan not there.
Paul Ryan.
George Bush not there.
Oh, wow.
And of course, Liz Cheney's lucky she wasn't there.
Liz Cheney, because the old school, the old GOP was part of the wealth extraction program.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not there now. We've called them out. We've said, you're part of the wealth extraction program. The GOP hates Donald Trump.
Yep.
Hate him. And what people have to understand, they keep donating to the GOP and say, well, donate to President Trump. He needs your money. Okay. But for the love of gosh.
Yeah. Stop donating to the GOP.
Against him.
Yep. Correct.
Now, think about that, the RNC convention. And I've talked to quite a few people who were on the floor. There were people on that floor that I believe were waiting for President Trump to be assassinated. I really believe that.
Yeah.
I think that Nikki Haley was sitting there ready to, step in, and there was a contingent, not a huge contingent, but there were people there that were anticipating something drastic happening.
Correct.
In this case, the assassination, and they had to go after President Trump. They cannot have him run. Right. He's the greatest whistleblower in U.S. history.
Correct.
He has walked among, not with these people, but he has walked among them for his entire life.
Yep.
He knows, he can see. I know he's got X-ray vision. I know you're corrupt. You're corrupt. You're corrupt. You're corrupt. He knows who's corrupt. Yeah. But the tools that he could use to rout out that corruption are controlled by the council. Now that they've been exposed, they are terrified of President Trump.
I was going to say, do you haven't any, since that paper came out, any pushback towards you from anybody associated with anybody in the council. I mean, if you can say it or not say it, has there been any threats or anything that's been discussed? Because your safety matters as well, Greg, and that paper exposes a lot of the names that are very powerful in this country. So,
well, the paper, it matters a lot. I was a U.S. Naval officer, former U.S. Naval officer, went to Naval Academy, and most of my friends are ex-military. We took lifetime oaths.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who understands officers, and I was an officer, is an officer's primary job. If you asked a lot of officers, they don't know what their primary job is.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to tell the officers under my charge, I said, you only have one job. One.
Mm-hmm.
The chiefs will take care of everything. They'll take care of the operations. They'll get the missiles launched, the torpedoes out. They will operate the ship. You only have one job, and that is to give other people courage.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. Jim and Dale, that's what you're doing with your show. Mm-hmm. Your show is to give other people courage. That paper, the book, The Parallel Election, our federal lawsuits, that paper, the appearances on this show and Roger Stone's and Emerald Robinson's, to a certain extent, it protects us, because once the information's out, what do?
Yeah, correct.
They can just try to discredit me. Or they can just go after Colonel Schindler. They can go after you.
Yep.
But they have bigger fish to fry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think by just giving people courage to say, dig into this, read the council article, read it,
right.
See if it makes sense to you, and then go ask your representatives and say, hey, this guy wrote this thing.
Correct.
And it wasn't just me. It's the intellectual property of quite a few people. I just authored it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything to this?
Yeah.
Because it seems to me the guy gave 20 different examples in there, Fast and Furious, name an operation in the United States where they screwed the pooch.
Yep.
And then say what happened.
Yeah.
It ended up in Inspector General Horowitz's, U.S. Attorney General, FBI Director, the Office of Professional Responsibility, and the Criminal Referral Division in the SIGI. It ended up there, and then it was killed.
Yeah, and it was gone. Yep.
I mentioned in the paper when they caught Eric Holder doing Fast and Furious, illegally shipping guns over the border.
Yep.
Brian Terry was a border control agent that got killed.
Yep. Correct.
Investigation opens up, and they say, well, Eric Holder, what the hell have you been doing? Who authorized this? This is insanity.
Mm-hmm.
They just dropped the case. That case sat there for 10 years. 10 years, and then it was dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Every single case is like this. Are you hearing anything do we have any information on President Trump's assassination
a
week later?
No.
That's what we were asking. It's been a week and a half. A week and a half, and we know nothing.
We know nothing. We know less now.
This is absolutely. So now and again, Dale and I were just talking about it. All the conspiracy theories are coming out now. We're hearing all this, we're hearing all that. We don't know what to believe anymore. But that's because they are putting us in that position. Because let's face it, if it was Joe Biden, the attempt on Joe Biden, Dale and I were joking a little bit, but not only would the person have been dead, but then the people who were involved in it would be on death row right now. That's how quickly we would have moved on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
this is President Trump, and here we are. We're sitting here, nothing. We know nothing.
He's their greatest enemy, but it's really, really simple.
Mm-hmm.
And the cognitive dissonance we're trying to break through is it's very, very simple. Who could have made those orders? Someone in the Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security handles the protective detail now, which is Mayorkas, right?
Yep. Which is Mayorkas. We know a lot about him. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Someone had to order Cheadle to do what she did.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone had to order the people on the ground, the sharpshooters, not to take the shots. And I don't want to discuss the different theories that are going around right now, but there was a control mechanism, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it leads back to a simple group of people. So they're saying, well, how could it be us?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the Bart Simpson defense. I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. Yep.
I didn't do it.
Yep.
So I look at Merrick Garland, and I look at Christopher Wray, and I look at Mayorkas, and I look at Cheadle, and I go, we know you did it.
We know.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it out.
Yep.
And now you're going to investigate yourself.
Yeah.
We can't let that fly. But the beautiful thing about that paper is I talk about extortion and blackmail. I don't think there's a judge or a senator that goes into office nowadays that they don't have a dossier on, and that they have leverage on everybody.
On everybody.
Yep. And the way they do it too is some people are really good people and they've done nothing. But it just comes down to a simple smear. And they did this to I'm not going to say the congressman's name, but one of the congressmen poked his head up about a year ago and they were like, when did you stop beating your wife? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
When did there's no yes or no to that.
Yeah.
Well, you abused a girlfriend at a college frat party 30 years ago, and we're going to indict you for that.
Yeah.
Shuts up.
Yeah.
So this is what they do. And what they ran into with President Trump is he fought back.
That's right.
Now look at if you look at the council and all that emanates from them, read the paper.
Yep.
Jack Smith is a special counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows his name. He's the one running all the indictments, right?
Yep.
Well, Jack Smith is involved in extorting money. I mean, literally, he was charged with extorting monies from war criminals in Kosovo.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that just popped its head up. Senator, Getz came out and he said, "Hey, you know something? Let's take a look. Let's go back and look at Kosovo and the people that were extracting money from Kosovo."
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Who didn't show up at the RNC convention?
Yeah.
Cheney, Bush, Romney.
Yeah. Yep. Gee,
okay.
why?
They didn't show up at the thing.
Yeah.
We're putting pressure on Jack Smith.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Let's look at the New York.
Yeah.
Who's pressing these charges?
Mm-hmm.
They all come from the DOJ.
Yeah.
They
Correct.
were deputy U.S. attorney generals.
Yeah.
Look at every single case where they've gone after Trump and lift up the curtain and see who's pushing that case.
Yeah.
It's the council. Every time.
Yep.
If you go through the root cause analysis, pick something. You guys maybe pick a recent event right here on the show.
Yeah.
And let's just pick one. I'll give you a second to think of one, and
Yeah.
we'll just do a dichotomy of it, or we'll do a drill down and try to think of one that happened recently.
Like in a political event, you mean, or a political
Anything.
Anything.
Ukraine or Hillary Clinton emails. I mentioned.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, there's 1,000. There's 1,000 of them. So let's look at Hillary Clinton's emails then. Let's do that. And I don't want to put that one in the past. I mean, I guess I'd rather do Ukraine. And
Ukraine's easy.
And here's why. Ukraine's and because all of a sudden we accidentally sent them billions of dollars. That just came out today or something that we
$221 million a day.
A day. That's
right.
been going there that they are saying was not supposed to happen, accidentally. It's like what the Pentagon lost all the money. I mean, but anyways, let's take that one. Let's take Ukraine in general.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we'll take the Office of the Inspector General and Inspector General Michael Horowitz.
Yes.
The Inspector General of the United States is a lifetime appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Since that position was created, there's only been two. Michael Horowitz has been there for the long, he's still in that role. He's going to be in that role.
Yeah.
When the Inspector General's Act was passed in 1978, what they did is they said, it was after Watergate, and they said, well, we need a small group of untouchables that can hold powerful people accountable. And what they did is they put inspector generals in every federal agency. They started out with 12. We now have 74 agencies, including the NSA, CIA, name an agency, agriculture. They've got an inspector general there. So that means they've got a guy sitting in every organization or woman that reports directly to the inspector general. Yeah. And if they don't like the way things are going, they can investigate, obstruct, prosecute. The director of the CIA can be prosecuted. So a lot of people have said, wait a minute, Greg, that doesn't make any sense. These directors have a heck of a lot more power than the inspector generals that are embedded in their organizations. They said, really? If they do something wrong, who investigates?
That's right.
Inspector General.
That's right.
If someone wants the director to do something that's illegal and he or she is willing to do it, who allows that to happen? Inspector General.
Yep.
So if I allow $220 million a day to go over Ukraine to kill millions of citizens, these are women, children, young men, 17 to, we're wiping out an entire generation over there.
Yep.
Russian
Correct.
and Ukrainian.
Mm-hmm.
They are spilling blood over there. And I want anybody who's got a child or a young boy, a son or a daughter who's 17 to 30.
Yeah.
Imagine your son lying in a pool of blood.
Yep.
These people are sending over $221 million. My understanding, about 90% of it is coming back to the United States.
That's what I figured.
Being laundered, basically.
Biggest launder scheme ever.
Some of it's coming back to DOD, but it's money laundering to an extent of, we've got politicians who are getting $20 and $30 million checks.
Yeah, I believe
Checks.
that 100%. Yep.
Well, it's real simple.
Yeah.
Who investigates that? Who would stop that?
Yeah, you're right.
There's only one organization. The Council for the Council for the Inspector General's for efficiency. I can't remember the logo. Someone will have to look it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
The SIGI is responsible for that.
Yep, correct.
So when the president or some congressman says, "Hey, I want to report on this,"
yeah,
well, who gives them the report? The SIGI comes from the Office of the Inspector General for whatever organization is. So if you go to DOD and say, "Geez, I want to know where the money is going,"
yeah,
well, you'll have to talk to the Inspector General for that. Wait, why do I got to talk to them? Don't you have the budget? Can't you give it to me?
Yeah.
And then you get Cheadle. Have you seen the congressional testimony? They sit there and they go, go screw, go screw. Because the only one that can hold them accountable is the Inspector General.
Right.
Are they going to do that?
Yeah.
No. So that's why Cheadle could sit there with a Cheshire cat smile on her face and give a big giant middle finger, both fingers.
Yeah. Yep.
To Congress, because she knows the only one who can prosecute her is Mayorkas, the Inspector General, FBI. Are they going to do that?
All those
They're not going to do it.
complicit in the attempt.
So
responsible for it.
So if you just use the Ukraine, it's a money laundering scheme. Okay, they have a complicit government. They have a pliable and malleable government.
Yep.
And if you look at Biden, remember the foreign policy, the Institute for Foreign Policy.
Yes.
Remember the conference he had. He was bragging about firing the Attorney General of Ukraine, who was investigating this. He was bragging about it.
Yep.
So how do they do that?
Yeah.
Who does that? It all roots back to, no matter what you do, you do a deep dive, do a bottom up, top down. Who is the person ultimately responsible for that investigation and for prosecuting and bringing a case to Congress or bringing a case to the president? It's only one person.
Jesus.
It's the Inspector General of the United States. And I've had people say, Greg, well, the directors have a lot of play. So the directors are there from regime to regime.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
And while we're on here,
well, that's a good point too, Greg. They're there from regime to regime, while the Inspector General stays consistent. Right?
Always.
Yeah.
He stays there. We call it sui generis.
Yep.
Latin, SUI, generis means unto themselves. They are the untouchables.
Wow.
That go from bureaucracy to bureaucracy to bureaucracy.
Correct.
Now, I do want to mention something about Project 2025.
Yep.
A lot of the GOP is, kind of loving this, and what it is the brainchild of right now. It's being pushed by Russ Voigt. Russ Voigt's the one pushing this.
Yep.
Now, what they're proposing is, well, our Constitution's been broken. We have an illegitimate government. They've installed people. We've got corruption out the wazoo.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to enter a post-constitutional society. I go, what the hell is a post-constitutional society?
Yeah.
Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to appoint Christians and inject Christianity back in the government. Now, I'm a Christian. I'm a Roman Catholic, actually. And I said, boy, you haven't gone to church lately, because I know a lot of Christians.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Dale, are you a Christian? I'm just going to, you don't have to say it.
I am.
You're a Christian.
Yeah.
So, hey, I think, Dale, I like you. You're a good guy. And you know what's going on. So I'm going to make you the commandant of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
How How about the director of Office of Management and Budget, run the biggest department in the U.S. government, which Russ Voigt was appointed to, with zero. Jim, do you want to be the head of Office of Management and Budget?
Love to. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah. So what they're proposing is let's get rid of the merit system.
Oh, boy.
For better or for worse, the merit system before 1883, let's do a little history lesson here. Before 1883, the way the U.S. worked is they call it a spoil system. So whoever got elected, they would bring all their friends and family and people who helped them, and they would man the government.
Yep.
That doesn't work out well. There's going to be corruption there. You know, you're going to bring in corrupt people.
Correct.
There's no oversight. You know, I bring all my friends, and the only one who can hold them accountable is me. Bad idea.
Yep.
So in 1883, actually, the president was assassinated. Garfield, the reason he was assassinated, and it's an interesting story, is a guy who had supported Garfield, given him a ton of money, and was responsible for installing him into office, you know, getting him elected, because they did still do elections then. He wanted to be the ambassador to France.
Wow.
Well, there's only two problems with that. He didn't speak French.
Yeah.
He'd never been there. He didn't even know where it was, and he had no teeth. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
So they looked at him and they said, "Hey, look, we really appreciate what you did, and we can help you, but we can't make you ambassador to one of the most powerful at that time, one of the most powerful countries on the planet. You don't speak French and you don't have any teeth.
Yeah.
Let's be serious."
Yeah.
He shot Garfield.
Yeah.
So afterwards, they said, "This isn't working for us."
Yeah.
They created the merit system in 1883. Now, the merit system, for better or for worse, appoints people. You know, they hire people, they train people, they promote people on a merit system.
Correct.
Now, at the upper echelons, the director and cabinet levels, that's still pretty much the same, where they get appointed president to president.
Yeah.
But what people call the deep state, it's not really a deep state, it's a bureaucracy that keeps our country running.
Yeah.
We have a Department of Agriculture. We have, we have a very important parts of the government that have to run. Social Security has to run. Who's going to send out the checks?
Yeah, that's right.
The Office of Management and Budget. Who's writing the checks to the vendors? Who's watching over this? The GSA. Correct. Our government has to survive regime to regime to regime.
Yes.
Now, if Obama, think of it the other way. If Obama had come in and says, I'm going to fire everybody. I'm going to put all my own cronies in.
Yeah. Yep.
No one would want that.
No. Correct.
So why do I want to do this Project 2025 veiled as a Christian initiative? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're going to change the merit system. Yeah. We need these people. Public service is the heart of America. People who are there's good FBI agents. There's nobody joins the military or the FBI or the NSA to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
These are people who want to serve the public. You don't get to go in there and just rip out the merit system because you don't like the way things are going.
Correct.
It's one of the biggest things. It's the Achilles heel of Trump's campaign.
Yeah.
They would love for him to try to do this.
Correct.
Because they will tear him apart. If I go onto a ship, I'm a ship captain, and the first thing I say to everybody here on the ship is, hey, all your jobs are online. You're now at-will employees. I can fire any one of you, okay? And you have to be a Christian.
Yeah.
Is that crew going to support me?
Yeah. Nope.
Oh, no. That ship's going to be running aground pretty quick.
They're
going to get me off that ship.
Yeah, correct.
That's why the council and the Democrats and even the GOP is rubbing their hands like this. They're going, oh, please put in 2025.
Yeah.
Because Trump will alienate the entire bureaucracy of the government, which the public needs.
Yes.
Okay, to run our government.
Yeah. Correct.
Bad idea.
Yeah. That's why they're trying to associate it with him. I mean, that's
he already came out and said, I have nothing to do with that. That was something that was started by somebody else. That's not me. That's
not
and
here's my agenda.
Anybody that knows President Trump and his whole past and his family and all that stuff knows that they're not going to back Project 2025. They know that. Well, they should know that.
They should know that. Hey, real quick, we got to hear from our sponsor again, Greg. If you got time, stay with us because I've got more questions for sure. So, Jim, roll that and we'll be right back.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
That's a great ad.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is a great company. We're very lucky to be associated with them. Rich and Sharon, the owners of Grit Gear and Lock and Load Coffee, two middle American, veteran-supported, patriot American people who just had a dream, started it, and boom, there it is. And we're proud to be associated with them for sure. So go to gritgearapparel.com or lockandloadcoffee.com. Use coupon code 2guys, get 10% off of your first order. Greg, I want to lead into now this, how the council might be in charge or at least responsible for who might be the next vice president for the Democrats. You have a great idea of who it might be, and that is Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. I think that nails it on the head for them. He is a toe to the line. Look what I did. I did what I had to bring you Pennsylvania. I'm this total scumbag of the earth, so I fit right in with the Democrats. They need somebody in that region of the country. I think you're dead on who that might be, and they are betting him currently. Whatever
they are
that
betting
means.
him.
Whatever that means.
I think he was in the top three. Yeah. Oh,
He's
sorry.
in the top.
Continue, Dale.
No. But my question is that tells me as well that the people, not the Kamala Harris, not the Bidens, not even the Obamas, not even the Clintons, that the people above them, the people that are in charge, the council itself is saying, here's who you need to look at. Here's who you need to look at. And this guy's it, and this guy's it, or this lady's it, whatever the story might be. What is your feeling on that potential of Josh Shapiro being the vice president, and what are the ramifications if by God they actually do win this election? Josh Shapiro personally. You've had many dealings with him.
I know what he's done. So
yeah,
we filed criminal charges.
Yeah.
So let's just start real quick. We didn't just write an article. Colonel Sindelar, myself, and some other people, we did a disclosure and a criminal charges that were sent to Jim Jordan, the House Judiciary Committee, in July 4th of last year. Pick the date. He said, let's send it in July 4th. And we called out everyone we talked about, Horowitz, Shapiro, Pence, and we went through the whole thing of how there was a coup. And we provided the evidence. We provided the emails and correspondence that showed this. And then over the past 3 years, we've assembled the documentation that shows that Josh Shapiro is an architect of the fraud, an election fraud. He is an architect. He didn't just take advantage of it. He's an architect of the fraud. So in 2020, the person who was responsible for investigating election fraud was the Pennsylvania Attorney General.
Yep.
That was Josh Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro.
He won. So why? So when we sent it to him, I said, when Barr said, well, we want to refer all these investigations to the respective states and to their attorney generals. I go, well, that's not going to work very well, because the guy who architected the fraud and benefited from the fraud and gets installed as a Pennsylvania attorney general who's going to investigate the fraud is Shapiro. Yeah. So we found out through FOIAs and through Right to Knows that despite all his babble about the big lie, and we thoroughly investigated this, Well, we found out there were only 2 criminal investigations ever done by Josh Shapiro on the election fraud, and that was on myself and Leah Hoops.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we have that. That's a matter of public record. We have the right to know. They came back and they said, "Hey, there was no investigation." And then we found out the district attorneys. We did the same thing. The district attorney here in Delaware County and other district attorneys, they quashed and obstructed investigations. We've got that. That's the record. So we filed criminal charges against Josh Shapiro in beginning of June with the Pennsylvania Attorney General, Michelle Henry, who probably won't do, well, she's not going to do anything about it.
Yep.
We never heard back from Jim Jordan. We sent multiple follow-ups, USPS correspondence. I know personally that 2 congressmen went into his office, pounding on that guy's desk saying, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah. Yep.
You can't just let it sit here. You have to investigate this. Nothing. Personal friends of his called me. I have texts on my phone directly. I have Jim Jordan's cell phone on my phone.
Yeah.
And I have texts from personal friends of his where they copied me saying, are you going to read this, Jim? I mean, this is evidence here of massive election fraud. This is evidence that the council and did this. Yeah. Now we filed the same thing against Shapiro. Now we know Shapiro in the 2022 election, he was elected governor through election fraud.
Yep.
So here we have a guy in 2020, he's the Pennsylvania Attorney General. 2022, he's now the governor, and now in 2024, I think he was planning on being VP, but they started banning him out. I think it was about 100% that they were going to put Shapiro in there as the president, the vice president. I think today that's probably around 80, and it's going down 70. It's slowly going down, and the big reason is not because of the criminal disclosures and the fact that we're going to go after him for corruption. The big thing that he failed at is the assassination attempt. Now, if you look at the assassination attempt on Trump, was in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Correct. Right.
We have 50 states. And if you look at Europe and you look at the size of our states and you look at the size of entire nations in Europe, basically every state is a nation state here, individually. We have governors and so forth.
Yeah.
So President Trump is a presidential candidate. He's a visiting dignitary. The governor is responsible for the outer ring of security.
Correct.
It's the governor's people. It's the police force, the governor's Pennsylvania state troopers. I mean, they assign the people, special agents from within the governor's office, and they do the outer perimeter of the security. Where was the failure during the assassination attempt?
Outer
perimeter. So the day of the assassination, you look at who was campaigning with Kamala Harris in Reading, Pennsylvania at the time of the assassination.
Correct.
Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro.
Shapiro was with Kamala Harris in Reading, PA, and they were ready to get a mic in front of them. And that was it. So I think that when you look at the Butler, PA, and you look at even the Democrats, I think, were horrified by the assassination attempt. I think everyone should be. I mean, I loathe President Obama, and I loathe.
Oh, us too, but I would never want that. That's not.
But if someone ever said, I'd be like, that's the president of the United States.
Correct.
And everyone here, you see Band of Brothers, remember?
Yep.
Respect the rank. You don't have to respect the man, but you got to respect the rank.
Correct.
And the bottom line is, I loathe President Obama, but he was the president.
Correct.
And as a naval officer, you sit there, or an officer, if a president says you will do this, that's our duty. And you sit there and go, that's why civilians control our military. That's why the president, the executive branch, controls the military, and the Congress, the legislature, the military, and the federal agencies. We report to the civilians and the citizens of our country. So if he's the president, I think people were horrified that attempt was made, that assassination attempt, and God was there.
Yeah, no doubt.
There were bullets flying.
No doubt.
And they showed.
There was more than 3 shots fired.
Oh, well, there were at least 8. And, but I think Shapiro, now everyone's given the side eye to Shapiro and say, look, there's one thing here. people have a hard time believing that Corona and COVID, was meant to kill people. They go, how could our government want to kill people?
Yeah.
How could the vaccine be bad for us? Line me up and give me 8 of them.
Right.
They can't comprehend
Correct.
that there's people within our government that would murder them.
Yes.
Well, the assassination attempt on last Saturday, it's just 2 Saturdays now. That clearly shows that our government has no problem murdering people, including the president of the United States. If they're going to try to murder the president of the United States, what else would they do?
Yep, exactly.
Well, now you look at Josh Shapiro. He went from 100%. Had President Trump been assassinated, he would be your nominee.
He'd be your number one, wouldn't he?
Right. Yep. But now that President Trump survived that, everyone's looking at giving Josh Shapiro the side eye, and they say, wait a minute. We've got other investigations now. You'll see in the state, all of a sudden, Pennsylvania Senator Coleman says, I want to look at this corruption thing and the $500 million that was stolen from Allentown that Shapiro smack dab in the middle of. We want to look at that. We want to look at these charges that Stenstrom filed on massive election fraud. We want to look at these other things. So now Josh Shapiro
is all of a sudden, he's getting inundated with the negativity now. That's right.
So I've said
I agree with you, Greg. That makes sense.
And actually, Dale and I have both said mostly that watch who the vice presidential candidate is. Just watch, pay attention. Okay, because obviously Shapiro, because they need Pennsylvania, and then Whitmer's name comes up because they want Michigan, which I still don't think they can carry Michigan with her. But anyway, it's watch who this is to see if Kamala Harris, because I'm still not convinced she's going to be the end choice. I'm still not convinced of this. And what I mean by that, they may use her for the election. She's not going to be our president for 4 years. There's just no way. So I'm thinking, in all honesty, I believe whoever that vice presidential candidate is, that individual will eventually become, if the Democrats win the next election, that individual will eventually be the president of the United States. Anybody who thinks Kamala Harris can run this country is worse than Joe. And Joe now in his mental state, he's still better than Kamala.
Jim, I think what we have to, can I interrupt, Jim? Because I'm going to. Because I think the point we're missing is it's not the fact that whether she can run the country or not, they can run her. They can control her. And I think to me, that's what I take from all of this and the council and all the hard work that you've done on this, Greg, is that it doesn't matter who the person is. It's the people behind the person.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah. And there's no way, it doesn't matter whether Kamala is the person or not. As long as they can control her, they throw her up. They don't give a crap. Look what they did to Biden, right? He's great. Complete control over Biden. They cheated on the election to get him in there. They controlled him since then. We knew he had no cognitive abilities to run this country. Hell, he didn't even come out of his basement all of 2020, right? So it's about the control. I mean, it's just bizarre to me. And I don't disagree, Jim, to the point with whoever her vice president will, it could be the choice for president. I totally agree with that. They could do what they did to Biden. She's not fit to run. They bypassed democracy basically while yelling at we're the threats to it by just anointing her as their candidate without a single vote from a delegate. So I don't think it matters to them. They could do whatever the hell they want at this point. It's just bizarre, Greg. Frightening to me.
Well, that's why they're going to be there will be one or more. They're going to continue to try to assassinate Trump. They're going to continue.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Jim has said that, so I agree with that.
The DNC convention, no one knows how that'll play out. I think right now, if I had to, bet money, I would say it would be Harris on the ticket for the reason you just said, Dale. It doesn't matter who they run. They could Mrs. Potato Head.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It could be your dog Fluffy. They don't care. So they'll put her on a poster. They're not counting the votes anyways. Unless we're going to stop that. I'm going to say we'll protect your votes at the ballots. I don't want to tell people not to come out to vote. We need 90% turnout because it makes it incredibly hard for them to hide the cheating. I just need, as someone who's going to be protecting the ballots, I need people to vote. But I think it's going to be Harris. And I think up until a week ago, or right before the assassination attempt, I think it was Harris and Shapiro.
Yeah.
I now think Shapiro
Yeah,
I think some
he's
of
dwindled. He didn't do his job.
Well, the blasé, the way he said it, what he wasn't horrified that President Trump, there was an
Isn't that
assassination.
amazing?
He was, "Oh, my heart goes out to." What's that? There's some meme. There's some cute girl who goes like this with her shirt.
Yeah, I know.
I can't remember. I can't read. It's just like I see it all the time.
Yeah.
But oh, my heart goes
My
out
heart
to
really
the first
goes out to him.
responders. And the platitudes that poured out of his mouth. I think at that point, I could take sound bites of that and destroy that guy over the next year. And that's what they got to look at. They got to look at the sound bites and they go, Pennsylvania Attorney General in 2020. He was supposed to investigate fraud, didn't. 2022, they make the guy governor 2 years later. And now in 2024, we're going to make him the president.
Yeah.
That's just people are just not going to buy that. I think that if I was the DNC, even though, they're controlled by pretty woke and left people, they got to look at that and go, hey, let's go with the gay guy. It was a Buttigieg or whatever.
Yeah,
let's
I know.
go with Buttigieg, or we'll go with we got to go someplace else. That nothing is more unappealing to people than snakes. I always take pictures of Shapiro and what's the thing with the kid with the Voldemort? What's that show? The kids' books there.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yep.
And I always take pictures of Shapiro and I morph him to Voldemort with the snake face. And I think that people, that's what offends people the most, when they can really see through. I mean, there's some people who hate Trump, they hate him. They don't know why they hate him. They just hate him because they're told to hate him. They don't like his hair. They don't,
they're told to hate him.
He's and quite frankly, a lot of times he's not a likable person. I mean, Trump is Trump.
Trump
he is what he is.
That's right.
But with Shapiro, I think what would turn people off would be the veneer they've made for him is very easy to chip off. You'll be able to get videos of him and see the sneers, and he won't be able to control his facial tics and so forth. They got to look at him and go, at least Kamala Harris, we can do something with her. Whitmer, a woman and woman platform. It doesn't matter. Like you said, it doesn't matter who they put up there, but they're not going to put a liability up there at this point.
Correct.
They're not going to. Harris is a big enough liability as it is.
Oh, she sure is. Right.
So, we're stuck with this knucklehead.
Yeah.
We got to put someone else in, at least who they can't, give them more reason.
Yeah.
At this point, I think Trump is a landslide.
I do too. It should be. Jim, I'm going to ask Jim this question. Who do you, and then both of you can answer then. If it's not Shapiro, then who do you truly think it's going to be? We're hearing a couple names, but we're not hearing the name like a Newsom, and maybe that's because it's the California connection.
What we're hearing, what we're hearing is, I don't think is what, look, it's going to be somebody from a state they need. Okay. Or it's going to, I'm saying, and I know people think I'm crazy and everything else, but the Clintons were the very first people to come out and after Biden and endorse Kamala. I would not be surprised to see Hillary on that ticket. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's not a bad opinion to have. I mean, they sure did come out and endorse her. Of course, maybe that's, again, it's just, so now Greg, you've got me all messed up, because now it's just like, well, of course they endorsed her because they can control her. I literally can think of nothing else now except that there are bigger, larger, more powerful entities in this country than I've ever even known about, and on both sides.
We've all felt it.
We felt it, and we all knew it.
You've helped put not just names to it, but titles to it.
I've always thought it was like the George Soros is, right? Like George Soros is controlling, but somebody's controlling all that too, and it's even bigger than that. So now maybe that's why Hillary endorsed. Hillary's a liability in herself as well. So I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards maybe Whitmer at this point. A woman.
Whitmer. I think it's a food fight, but any one of those. I think Clinton is plausible. Bashir is. I think they're throwing him out.
Oh,
Newsom
they are
obviously top, and Whitmer. Those are the four. But when you look at that, that's why I said Shapiro was such a clear choice. Because if you took Newsom, Bashir, Whitmer, and Clinton, and you look at them and you go, you start. Then Shapiro really popped out because he was like, oh, he's the attorney general, he's the governor,
he's the guy.
He looks pretty good, and he talks, and he seems somewhat sincere, and we can work with him. But now that we're that failed assassination attempt, I think that failed assassination attempt in his state, which he's obviously had some hand in. Okay. Whether it was incompetence or purposeful, I'm going to say there was obviously some involvement. When you take that dropped him down into the low percentages. But
I got a question then. How much? So it's reverse those roles. Joe Biden gets an assassination attempt at a rally in Tampa, Florida. How on top of Governor DeSantis do you think the news and the FBI and everybody? But yet Shapiro's just kind of skating there as the leader of that state.
His name's not even brought up.
Nobody's even talking about him.
Well, it would screw up their plans. I mean, we already said
that's what I mean.
Talked about in the book, talked about in the paper on the council, which is the one thing I wanted to say is it looks daunting to people. Please read it. I know it says 70 pages or 69 pages, but it was written in 16 font. Because what I found is the only people who read it are people like over 40.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I make things in 16 font. It really doesn't take that long to read. There's a table of contents and index. It's pretty fast. There's a lot of pictures, and it's really big font.
Well, but according to Kamala, the 18 to 24-year-olds are stupid.
That's right.
So they can't read it.
They can't read anyways. That's for sure. Jim, do we have any comments that are popping up by any chance?
Want to put this up. Our Grit Gear friends. Welcome.
They failed to kill President Trump. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
And then about Kamala, she's just another pawn based on what you guys were discussing earlier. And then Trump doesn't hide who he is what he meant to say.
That is correct.
But so we got. I mean, it's out there. We know it's there, and you, Greg, and Leah, and people like you are helping get the word out. And anytime any show can get you guys on so you can give the picture of what's going on and what we need to watch for, we need to turn that 65% into 70, that 70 into 80, that 80 into 90 to show up to vote. And again, in the words, make it too big to rig. That's what we have to do. And thanks for you, because you sit there and you thank us for you coming on the show, and we just let you talk. Okay,
yeah, because you're the
one behind everything. So we appreciate everything you do, even though sometimes you have people that may not like what you do, but you have more people out there to appreciate what you do, and you're going to continue to have more, because I really do think America is at that point now where we have a number of people saying, okay, now this assassination attempt, I think really is bringing it out that I think we got a problem here, folks. And so thank you.
And the names, as I'm looking here, and we'll put the link up there to the paper, but the names that are just on here, and they're going to be familiar to everybody.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to be like, wow. I mean, for one, and the Mitch McConnells and the Jerry Nadlers and the Chuck Grassley's, that, boy, this is why we need term limits. Of course, they're the reason we don't have it. But we know that. We're like, oh my gosh, they need to really, move on and all that. But you never really think of them as having the power to pull off things like this. And especially when you're talking about, it's not a partisan paper. It's not a partisan issue.
No,
it is that's the thing about it. And this is why all Americans, all patriots should be pissed off about this, because this is Republican and Democrat. This is not just, one side versus the other. I mean, it is a good versus evil. That is for sure.
I think it's really simple too. I think it's simple because really, for people to say who's swinging the skinny end of the bat. I got a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a big end and a little end.
Yep.
Okay. Is it the politicians that are swinging the little end of the bat, or is it the council? So if you look at it, who has the power to remove who?
Yeah.
Politicians don't have any power to remove the council. They are subject to the council.
Correct.
So once people realize, you sit there and go, who does Grassley report to? Who does Obama report to?
Mm-hmm.
Who did Trump have the hardest, people he was battling with?
Correct.
When you really look down at it, is the people who had the skinny end of the bat was the FBI, the Attorney General, Inspector General.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones swinging that skinny end of the bat.
Yep.
They could knock out Grassley, Raskin, name a congressman.
Yep.
Boom.
And
Power investigate, power to indict.
Yep.
You're out of here. Okay. You'll do what we say.
Yeah.
Or we'll make sure you're breaking big rocks into little rocks.
Correct.
And I think when you look at that, people will be able to go, great. Now look at this. And the last, one thing I'll say is, what if I'm wrong? When I publish stuff like that and people say, well, Greg, what if you're wrong? I said, well, even if I got it wrong, are these people obstructing investigations, and have they committed crimes, and are they committing crimes in Ukraine? Are they committing crimes with Corona? Did they commit crimes with did they investigate the pharmaceutical industry? Did Fauci make $400 million and no one blinked an eye? I mean, who is responsible for holding them accountable? The council. So I said, even if I have it wrong, then we still need to address them. I don't think I do have it wrong.
I don't think you do either. I don't think you have it wrong at all. I mean, this is very involved. And of course I just, when you're looking at the names and all that, and you're looking at typical Schumer and Pelosi, these are all names that were like, oh, these guys are corrupt and just terrible people and all that. But the deepness of it all, I mean, when you look at Jamie Raskin and then his father, I mean, you go back that far, and you're just looking at all this and you're like, holy smokes, man. I mean, this has been going on for quite some time. And I've never seen a paper like this where it just pinpoints who they are, what they represent. I mean, you go all the way down to the media end of this thing,
entertainment,
you go down to the business end of it, and you go to the Bill Gateses and the Mark Zuckerbergs, and I mean, it goes deep, and it's an easy read, folks. It really is an easy read.
I had a lot of fun. If I could write a whole book, I'd the Send in the Clowns section. That was like my favorite. I was trying to keep it short, that was the easiest one to write, was the Send in the Clowns, and the sense of futility.
Yep.
And what I want to, I'm going to go back to your sponsors here, and it's your shows, it's people like your sponsors that bring American exceptionalism back to the forefront, and bring back what the principles of our country is. Our country is not a democracy; it is a republic.
Yep. Constitutional republic, by the way.
Constitutional republic. And I think that I see the flags in your background. I see, what was the name of the coffee company?
Lock and Load
Coffee. These are the people that are, I think, the majority of our country. I think 90% of the people, I really do. I think 90% of the people in this country believe in American exceptionalism and love our country and love our flag and want to serve in our country. I want people to serve in the military. I want people to serve in the government and serve their communities. And this very, very small group of people, if you look at that paper, there's maybe a few hundred, there's only a few hundred more. So I look at it and I go, why the hell is 340 million people, including however many illegal aliens they are, why the heck are we letting a few hundred people and then their minions control our country? Why?
Correct.
All right. I'm going to say something about illegal aliens. People hate. Well, hate, but I'll say, look, you know what Trump could do? Instead of saying we're going to deport 17 million people on the first day, this is that 2025. I looked at that and I said, look, I'm an officer, and I'm a logistician, I'm a business person. So exactly how are we going to do that? How are we going to deport 17 million people? Look at, they're here. We got a lot of land. I know they came here illegally, but the best thing you could do is say, hey, we got a lot of land here. Why don't we offer you a path to citizenship? 86% of Mexicans are conservatives, Roman Catholics. You look at most of the people coming in. I mean, they've shown the animals, the MS-13 and so forth. But most of the people coming here and most of the illegal aliens here, if you sit there and go, we'll give you a path to citizenship. You got to do 5 or 7 years, get a job, keep your nose clean. I mean, I look at it, my heritage is, Swedish and Irish. It's my going back. So there was a time when there was no Irish allowed, no Italians allowed, The no Chinese allowed. We've crapped on every set of immigrants that have come into our country since the founding of our country.
Yep, that's right.
So if President Trump just said, I rethought this. What we're going to do is we're going to give you a path to citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
You know would have a heart attack? The communists and the Democrats. They have a complete heart attack. Oh my God, they're actually going to vote?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
They might be really, they might be really. You mean we can't vote for them anymore?
Yeah.
Okay. They don't give a crap about. Do you think they care about illegal aliens? Oh, we're going to give you driver's licenses.
Of course,
you're paying Social Security. They're paying taxes.
Mm-hmm.
They're living like second-class citizens.
Yep.
Okay. So what do the Democrats do? They say, oh, we're going to let you get driver's licenses. Oh, and when you get your driver's license, we're going to allow you to register to vote. You think an illegal alien cares about, whether he's given a vote that he's never or she's never going to cast?
He doesn't care.
One less hassle. The Democrats could give a flying crap about illegal aliens.
They could give a flying crap about the American citizens too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
They don't care about anything but their power. That's what they want.
Exactly. It's a controversial subject, obviously, because path to citizenship sounds like amnesty. It's not. It's different. It's different. So I don't want people to confuse the two, but it's a path to citizenship. And of course, those that you vet, the problem is just wide open borders, right? That's the massive problem. We have laws and we have security in this country, and there's a way to get here. But yes, that's
who allowed that. The American people allowed that because it's one of the reasons they have presidential immunity. And one of the things that the Supreme Court ruled on with President Trump was presidential immunity. Mm-hmm. Even if Obama and Biden was obviously, he's been breaking laws left and right. And
for 55 years.
It's incorrect to say we live in a post-constitutional. What's going to save us is the Constitution. And say, look at the people who allowed this was you. I'm pointing to the people, the American public, even Jim, Dale. We didn't personally allow it. We've been fighting for it. But the American public allowed it to happen, whether they've been narcotized or asleep at the wheel. They didn't care. They didn't show up to vote. It's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's your fault. You allowed it to happen. And it's not up to Donald Trump to fix the problem or Joe Biden to fix Joe Biden made the problem. Now President Trump's coming in, but the problem was created by the people. And if you think the great idea is like, hey, let's put them all on planes and fly them back to where they came from. I go, that is completely retarded. It's stupid. It cannot happen. Let's face it. So we have to come up with a better idea. So Creepers, they're here. Okay. They're living here. Why the hell? What illegally? We're in Delaware County. We've got like 100 illegal aliens living in the woods like animals, lighting fires every night, bathing in the rivers. And they're like, oh, this is horrible. What I think is horrible is that they allow them to live like that. They not that I want, not the open arms, but I said, the Democrats aren't worried about that. They only want those 100 people's names.
That's the only reason they're here.
So they can vote for them. They don't care that they're out there bathing in river water.
No.
So if President Trump were to say, hey, I can't have people bathing in rivers, and squatting in the woods to go to the bathroom. Hey, we got to figure something out. I got to get these people jobs. And there's plenty of jobs in this country. Plenty. Plenty of land. Say, look at Wyoming, hey, Wyoming, Utah, you could use a few people out there. I mean, you got a lot of land, a lot of people. I'm not saying they tell them where to go, but for people should open their arms and say, our country was founded and grew. I think it's Bill Murray says, we took every misfit in the world. Everybody nobody else wanted, we took.
We took them.
Hey, you got a potato farming? Bring them all the Irish over here. The Italian, bring them all over here. We want everybody. Africa, you got problems over there? Bring them all here. South America, Chinese. We got a lot of land here. We got to bring you in here. We grew. Our whole country is based on a melting pot where we bring everyone in. So I think that American exceptionalism and patriotism and saying, hey, welcome. Okay. And we're not going to turn our country into the shithole you came from. Okay. We're not going to allow that.
That's right. That's
okay. But if you want to come here,
which is what's happening. because of that. Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, you allow third worlds in, you become a third world unless you do something about it. Right?
Make them proud. Make them proud to be American. Learn English.
Yeah.
Get a job. Produce. Be productive. And I know some people don't want to hear. I see I know a lot of the red, white, and blue types.
Mm-hmm.
I'm red, white, and blue. I serve my country.
Yep.
I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at things that are pragmatic.
Yeah.
The fact that they broke the law to get here. Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Who let them?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you got to solve the problem.
I think the Inspector General did. To be honest with
Okay,
you.
we'll blame it all on him.
That's what I think who did. Greg, listen, we've got to run here. This has been absolutely enlightening as always.
Yes, thank you
and
very
your
much.
takes are just absolutely spot on. Tell people again how they can find you, where they can locate the paper. We'll put links up there. We'll put it on the show as well. But go ahead and tell everybody if you don't mind.
Sure. It's just a few places. The book can be found at parallelelection.com. I think it's a good book. It's on elections.
It's
a
very good
topic. The paper I write for intelligencer.today. You just go type in Intelligencer today and then look for an article in the Council or Shapiro. And then I was a co-founder of Patriot.online. It's not not Patriot.net, not Patriot.com. If you go to www.patriot.online, you'll see 3 big buttons there. Enter, election resources, and donate. If you go in there and you go enter, just look for me.
Yep.
And you'll see the articles and you'll see videos, and we'll get you more. We're getting, I'm not media geniuses like you guys. I just
learning how to do this. Nobody's ever put the word geniuses after our names or anything, so we appreciate that.
I count on you guys to do this stuff. I
have a recording for my wife so she can hear that.
You are.
She's listening.
We'll get you. These shows are great. I know they're long.
Yeah.
And I found a thing.
Very informative.
I found everyone said AI is going to take over the world. I found my son was telling me, he says, you should look at these clip managers, and they'll go through a 1-hour video and they'll throw out 30-second clips, and God love our kids. And I went and looked at it, and I ran some of our I'm going to take this show and some other shows and run them through, and I can get like a 30-second clip, a 45-second clip. We're going to start promoting this, and I will talk to Roger, and I will talk. I will talk to Roger.
I was going to say,
you guys live right down, right in the same, right in the same
we're sort of ish same area. Sort of ish. But please do. I watched you on the Stone Zone, by the way. So there's Parallel Election. Thank you, Buckeye, for putting that up. I watched you on the Stone Zone on his podcast on Monday, as usual. I mean, spot on. So, and Roger Stone is a true patriot, a true American patriot, no doubt about it. So, we'd love to talk to him, at some point. If you could find time for these media geniuses, Greg.
I will.
That would be phenomenal. So, anyways, we'll take you off here. We're going to finish out the show here real quick. Greg, as always, you're the best. Thank you, sir,
Greg.
for everything you do. Stay safe. Say hi to Leah for us.
I will.
And the invitation is open always. You want to come back on, you are welcome anytime. You let us know. All right.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk
Greg.
to you soon.
Right.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Man, Jim.
We got a couple more. We got to post.
Put up comments. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because Great Gear again. You hit it spot on.
Government more. We the people. It's really that simple. It truly is. And Greg was right when he said that.
Growing at Great Gear 100%.
Thank you.
And then my favorite.
Craig started a whole genius. Okay, well, that's super nice of him.
But I want to real quick before we wrap up. I have to do this before I forget. Bye, Greg. Tomorrow I will be celebrating my 32 years of marital bliss. My wife might have a different amount of marital bliss years. Hers might be more like 10.
30, and 31 years of abstinence.
I would like to wish my wife
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Love you. Thank you for putting up with me 32 years. I honestly, and I can say this with 100% compassion, I would not be where I'm at today without her. So if you don't like me, it's her fault. No, just kidding.
Not that you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't be where you are.
No, I would not be where I'm at. And I honestly believe I would not be who I am. She helped.
I agree.
She helped me see who I
it takes
be
two,
and who
man.
I am.
It does.
And God bless her, and happy anniversary. Thank you, Buckeye McGrone. I appreciate that.
Yep, there you go.
32 years tomorrow.
32 years. Happy anniversary to you.
Thank you.
Obviously knowing you and Mrs. Jim for quite the long time. Great couple, great family, just great people in general. I give Jim a lot of shit, folks. I really do. But he is probably one of the best human beings I know. So
I appreciate that.
And you and your wife, an amazing couple. I mean, you think 32 years, there's not many of us around like that anymore, Jim. We literally
celebrated my parents' 60th. How many are going to be able to do that?
Well, I did, but my parents 66 years.
No, I meant.
But how many people like us are? Exactly. Oh, I won't even live that long. So right. I mean, it's not. I know that's
just amazing.
So it's just amazing. Yep. So Jim, I want to talk real quick here before we do end, and I know the show's gone on a little bit, but about the Warrior Shield Foundation. I don't know, Jim, that I actually have that information here. Do we have that?
It should still be up in the.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Huh?
Somebody took it down. So I'm trying to see where it's at. I know it's in here somewhere in my stuff. Right here it is. Okay. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. So there you go. So let's talk about the Warrior Shield and the Warrior Shield Foundation, sponsored by Sub-Zero. Well, part of the Sub-Zero mission, but also our good friends at Grit Gear and Lock and Load Coffee are sponsoring it. But Jim and I will be there. And we'll be there doing some live shows on Friday the 6th and Saturday the 7th. The event goes from the 6th to the 8th, but it really, really, really goes. This foundation in itself is just absolutely spectacular, and not like one we found. I mean, there's a lot of good foundations. Tunnels to towers. There's good things out there. That you can put your money to, but this, I mean, really helps with the veterans and first responders too, as far as counseling to service dogs to wheelchairs. There's wheelchairs for warriors, who was also part of this as well. It's going to be a really amazing event. It's at the Rosen Center in Orlando, Florida. Spectacular location, and of course Ryan Weaver's going to be there. Bo Bice, Teague's going to be there. I mean, there's all sorts of good events going on, and they have a silent auction, and you can go to their website www.warriorshield.org, and from there you can just donate if you can't make it, and tickets are still available if you can't make it, but they are going fast, so just seriously,
the concert's sold out, so the only way to go to the concert is to buy the VIP ticket.
Yep, correct. And you should anyways, but if not, they have a silent auction, and an auction there's items on there you can purchase,
or you can just donate,
or you can just simply donate, and every dollar counts. And you're doing your part to help a veteran supported or a veteran started or a foundation, a 501c3, a true organization. There you go. Thank you, Buckeye. As always, our producer Buckeye is putting you're hired. And with a name like that, why wouldn't you? And then there's Grit Gear Apparel as well. Thank you for that. And Lock and Load Coffee. I mean, that's she's the trifecta of companies and organizations you should be supporting, folks, honestly. Again, thank you to Grit Gear Apparel as well, and Lock and Load Coffee for putting their faith and trust in us. We do appreciate it. Jim, let's play that sponsor one more time, and then we'll come back and end the show.
Okay.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women, regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Yeah, folks, remember them. GritGearApparel.com and LockandLoadCoffee.com. Jim, amazing shirt, beautiful, from Grit Gear, and all sorts of styles and everything. And folks, you really should go out there and support him. Jim, just one more thing. I think James earlier today said that. Good morning, my favorite Patriots. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. And we appreciate everyone who obviously tuned in. Jim, do you have anything to say before we take it out? Other than I meant to say when we were talking about the Warrior Shield, Chance Showell, who is the founder of the Warrior Shield Foundation, will be with us this Friday. Yes, we've got a special show this Friday, same time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, where Chance will be on to talk about the organization, how he started, his military background. You really do not want to miss that. I'll post links on Facebook and all that, or promo, so you guys can know.
We're going to try to have him on, and multiple times.
Before the actual event.
We really want to push it. Like I said, if you can't be there, like Dale said, if you can't be there, you can by donating money, and it doesn't take much to donate.
No, doesn't. So, a dollar, any dollar amount. I mean, every dollar counts, right, Jim?
Yep.
So, am I freezing up at all, or is it?
Nope, none at all.
Okay,
nope.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'm glad my internet worked, folks. Thank you again for joining us. We are super proud that you are part of us. We couldn't do it without any of you. Really, honestly, thank you all, and thank you again to Gregory Stenstrom. Honestly, go check him out. That guy is just a boat full of knowledge. Perhaps the immigrant thing is a little bit different than you might have, and I get that.
And it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay to have that take. Some of that makes sense to me. So, Jim, you're the best, man. Happy anniversary again to you and the missus. My love and a love from my family to you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Jim.
Yes. God bless all of you out there.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. You can follow us on the Patriots Prayer Network on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, X, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you watch or listen to podcasts. Also, remember our good friends at Grit Gear Apparel and Lock and Load Coffee, true America First companies. Again, thank you, and God bless the United States of America.